Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lori, and if you are just now joining us for the very first time, I'm so glad that you stopped by. And if you want to stay updated on new videos, I'd love for you to click on that little subscribe button. It's funny because I've been saying in the left-hand corner, and Jack finally was like, you've been saying left-hand corner, right? And there, it's actually on their right-hand corner. So I'm surprised some of you haven't told me that. So it's actually on your right corner, and it says like my channel. It's a little icon over there. If you just click on that, it'll go ahead and subscribe for you. And if you want to just click on the subscribe button at the bottom of the channel, you can do that too, whichever you prefer. If you are coming back to hang out with us some more, we are going to be continuing on in our James study today. The last video we did in the James study was on James chapter 1, verse 21, and today we're going to be going through 22 through 25. I know, crazy. We're actually doing more than one verse in a single video. So we are going to jump on into that in just a second. Hey guys, so we're going to jump right on into James chapter 1, verses 22 through 26, and I am reading from the NIV, but you can use whichever translation you like, and I'm going to put this up on the screen for you. So here we go. It says this: "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror, and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do." Okay, so it says, do not merely listen to the word and deceive yourself, but do what it says. So I was thinking about what it means to deceive yourself. And I was thinking about sort of the amount of times that I've penned a new recipe on Pinterest. You girls have probably done that like a few hundred times too, right? Or on Facebook where they have these recipes that are, you're scrolling through your news feed and all of a sudden you see a new recipe by Tasty or whatever, and you're like, ooh, that looks good. I'm going to share that one, And there's sometimes I make it right away, and there's sometimes that I totally forget about it and I end up penning it 15 more times because I've forgotten about it. But every now and then I will make that recipe, and I will write down all the ingredients and all the directions, everything. Or I'll take my phone with me to the grocery store and buy the ingredients. I'll come back home. I'll follow it word for word, every instruction. And then at the end of it, I have this beautiful, delicious chocolate cake or whatever it is that I'm making, right? I will deceive myself if I think that simply reading a recipe is going to put food on the table. Reading a recipe doesn't put food on the table. It's following the instructions and making the food from the recipe. That puts food on the table. That actually gets me fed. That puts chocolate cake in my mouth, okay? It's not the directions itself. And I love chocolate cake, okay, y'all? And so we don't need to deceive ourselves into thinking that it's just oh, I did my daily devotional. Oh, I read through the Bible in a year or whatever. No, we have to actually do what it says, or else, and it's saying right here, or else we're just deceiving ourselves. And then it goes on to talk about how if we are only listening to the word but not ever doing what it says, it's like a person going and looking in the mirror and then walking away and forgetting what they looked like. And going back to the whole recipe thing, how I talked about how sometimes I'll repen the same recipe 15 times. I'm not kidding you. I have done this. Okay. I have so many recipes on Pinterest that, because I don't go in there all the time, but over the years, I have created all these different little boards for like food for 2016, and they go back a few years. It's I start a new board each year because I think, oh yeah, I'm actually going to do these, I'm going to do these recipes. And I have recipes that I see through the feed or whatever that I have penned I'm telling you, I've probably penned them I probably have penned them like 20 times. And I've completely forgotten. Like, I think it's a new recipe every single time. Why? Because I've never made the recipe. And that's sort of what it's saying. It's like, look, you can read something, you can hear a good message, a good sermon or whatever, but if you don't truly take it in and take it to heart and put it into action, then you're going to forget. You're going to move on, and it's going to be just same old, same old. And then it says, and I'm going to read from my phone for a minute because I want to make sure that I read it perfectly. And then it says, but whoever, and this is verse 25, but whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they've heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. Okay, now, did you catch that? The perfect law that gives freedom. And I looked that up, and the word that is actually used here in the Greek is they actually wrote it, okay, is this word. I'm going to put that up for you. And I loved some of the definitions that came with this, and one in particular I wanted to read to you. But it, of course, can mean freedom. It can mean liberty is another word that they used. But I love that it said, especially a state of freedom from slavery. I love that, a state of freedom from slavery. And that's what the word talks about sin being all throughout, right? It talks about us being slaves to sin. And that's why this is the perfect law that gives freedom. It frees us. God's perfect law that he has called us into, right? That gives us freedom from the bondage of sin. That gives us freedom to walk out in our calling and our purpose, which is to glorify him. And then it says, if you don't forget, but you continue in it, continue in doing the things that you've heard, then that person, you will be blessed in what you do. Now let's talk about blessing, okay, for a second. I think some people, when they hear that, think, oh, I'll be blessed. Like, I'm going to have all this favor. I'm going to have a big old house. I'm going to have a Lamborghini parked in my driveway. I'm going to have all this money or whatever. You know, look, you may one day have a Lamborghini parked in your driveway. You may one day be a billionaire. I don't know. Okay, I can't say you won't ever. What I can say is that that's not what it's talking about. Okay, it is not talking about necessarily financial blessing. That is certainly a way that the Lord can bless you and has blessed many others, but that's not really what it's talking about here. And I think, you know, if we're looking at blessing, I think, man, having freedom from things that hold us in bondage, that hold us maybe fear, maybe loneliness, maybe rejection, maybe bitterness, maybe whatever. I mean, I don't know what's going on in your life, but I think there are a lot of things that we could say we've got freedom from that, and we consider that like huge blessing. And it is God's favor in our lives. I mean, blessing can take many different forms, but it is good and it is godliness that we're going to be seeing in our lives. But I don't want anybody to think that, oh, that blessing automatically is going to be, you know, everything's going to be rosy financially suddenly or anything like that. That's just not the case, and that's honestly just completely not biblical. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. I would love to hear your thoughts on what we've been reading, and it really has encouraged me, and it really helped me to really think about God's word and even more, because, you know, I love to read his word and I love to study his word, but there are times that I kind of have to take a step back and say, okay, I've been reading it a lot and I've been studying it a lot, but am I actually doing what it says? Am I actually meditating on it? Am I taking it into my heart, into my whole being, and actually like acting it out, you know, actually making sure that I'm doing what he's called me to do in that moment, in that day of living out and walking out his word and walking out his instruction in my life. And in that, am I walking in freedom? Because that's ultimately what it is. It's if I'm walking out in his instruction, if I'm walking out his word and trusting him that what he says is true, that it is the perfect law that gives freedom, then that's what I would be doing. I would be walking in freedom. And so, hey, I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the verses. Go ahead and comment below. Again, if you want to stay updated on new videos, we do topical videos, we do music videos, we do these Bible study videos. videos, go ahead and make sure you click on the like my channel icon over there. And of course, you can hit subscribe at the bottom of your screen as well. Make sure you add me on Snapchat if you want to follow my silly stories there. I'm having too much fun with the lenses. I can't even lie. You can also follow me on Instagram. Find me at Brumfield Lori. Snapchat's Lori Brumfield. And I'll see you guys again soon. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.